Okay, I think we can probably get started. Welcome everybody. Good to see almost entirely familiar faces here. This will be a good good training wheels session because this is our first info session for this, and it's obviously the first time that we're doing this grant. So it'll be good to get questions, feedback, and just hear about confusion where there is any. And most of you know I'm Nando Alvarez-Perez. I'm the board president at BICA, and I am here with Emily.
And Wavy.
And Wavy's here too. And again, everyone here probably knows Wavy, but Wavy's our gallery assistant, and will be the coordinator for all of the generator fund emails, info, and submittable stuff.
Your main point person for all questions.
Yes. Emily just dropped all of our emails into the chat there. Any questions before we start? Cool, sweet. Okay, well, I will go through just kind of the boilerplate background about the fund. Emily will go over the form, and we'll take questions towards the end. So let me just share my screen real quick, which I need. Yep.
Okay. That work?
Yep. Okay. So, as many of you know, the generator fund is $60,000 per year. We have got it for 2 years now, so hopefully applications are great, projects are great, and it can just go and go. But it is intended to support visual art projects that propose new directions for the creation and presentation of contemporary art in our region. It is only open to artists working in Erie County and Niagara County. So I think that is everyone who's here, but if you have friends in Cayuga, tell them to establish residence quickly. So as part of the Andy Warhol Foundation for Visual Arts Regional Regranting Program, this fund targets informal, non-incorporated artist collectives. So you probably don't have a nonprofit designation, you don't have a space maybe, and independent organizers whose work falls outside of the scope of typical funding sources. So again, there might be reasons why some of you may want to use BICA as a pass-through for specific grants, but we hope that this fund is kind of like able to target more uncharted and unexpected funding needs. So the fund is meant to support artistic activity outside of the studio, to encourage collaboration and to foster new connections and institutions among artists in Buffalo, Niagara Falls, and the suburban and rural areas here. In our first year, we have got 2 types of grants. First are kinetic grants, meant to imply that they are quick action-based grants, up to $2,000 to fund an artist's production for a new project with a publicly accessible component, which could be anything from an opening to a ticketed event to party. Examples may include exhibitions, performances, videos, or film screenings, books, zines, and brochures. Ideally, kinetic grants will be large enough to kind of bring you well over the finish line. So if this is like if you're working on public sculpture that you need to make $100,000 mold for and then cast that, probably $2,000 will not help that much there. So it is aimed at things that it will be a significant proportion of. And then potential grants are awards up to $10,000 and are intended to act as seed funds to sustain novel, long-term platforms for artistic expression and experimentation that foster collaboration, dialogue, and discourse in our region. So this could be anything from a project space to a proper gallery to a new Institute for Contemporary Art in Buffalo, because we need more of them, to a podcast series or a TV show, or a longer term video work, say. And this is stuff that we hope will kind of like that this $10,000 will be the seed fund for a much longer term thing that builds the regional ecosystem out. And so when artists think about what it means to be an artist here, and the like spaces and ideas and outlets that they have access to, it's to fund those sustaining things. In either grant type, the jurors are looking for proposals that exemplify collectivity, equity, or unexpected collaboration, which nurture and sustain our creative ecosystem, and or represent a distinctive or new approach to the visual arts or culture in our region. And so, yeah, we want to pay artists meaningful amounts to do meaningful things. And for this first round, our jury is Tiffany Gaines, who is a curatorial associate at the Birchfield Penny, and who also curated an exhibition of DJ Carr's work at Bika in 2021. Pablo Garliola, who is from Puerto Rico, and is a co-director of a space there called Beta Local, which is also a regional regranter there. And then we have local artist Julia Zwankowski, who many of you know from Bika School and Life. And anything else I need to hit there? I don't think so. Emily?
Yeah. So maybe we should give a second to ask questions if anyone has questions about the basic ideas here, the kinds of grants, who's eligible, anything like that. Does anyone have any questions like that?
If we have ideas for both of them, should I apply to both with like very separate ideas or only one?
You can apply for both. Be advised that the judges will most likely not award you both projects. However, you can be a collaborator on as many projects as you'd like, or, as many as you are wish or intend to collaborate on. But yeah, if you, for example, if you apply for a potential and a kinetic, you likely won't be awarded both under your own name.
I expected that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to lead y'all through the application process so you can see. I'm going to use the potential grant as the example. The kinetic grant is very similar, but a little bit easier. And we've really tried to design the application process to be easy. So it really is meant to not be something that makes it, not a barrier to participation in this. Instead, it should be something that kind of helps you gather your ideas together and ideally helps you form a really strong proposal. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. And can you see my desktop? Yes, can now see my screen. Okay. Can you see my email now? Yes. All right. Cool. All right. So if you start at the Generator Fund website that Nando was just on and hit almost any of those links that say apply now, it will take you to this link at Submittable. We're using Submittable as our application platform. You do have to sign up for a Submittable account to do this, but they're really helpful. And there's hopefully a lot of other grants that you'll apply for in the future that also require Submittable. So maybe you already have an account even. You can quickly see the guidelines here if you forgot which one you're trying to apply to. The potential grant is the $10,000 grant, and the kinetic one here is the $2,000 grant, but we're going to work on a potential grant application today. Oh, it's going to make me log in, even though I feel like it just did this.
You are missing an S in your name there.
What?
An S in your name.
That does help. Here we go. Okay. So first, you will be asked some questions about if you're eligible. Hold on. Oh, okay. Hold on. Quickly, I have to do this from my email on my phone. Give me a sec. I don't know why it's doing this.
Good insight into the whole process here.
I really think I already verified my email. Let's see. Okay, well, soon this will pop. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. All right. Let's see if that will just work now if I did it on my phone. Great. Okay. Hopefully. Yes, there we go. So now I can make sure that I'm eligible for this grant. The first question asks if this project is firmly based in or related to the visual arts. This could be a kind of tricky question because visual arts can be a pretty huge category. What I would say is that you should make sure that in your application, you explain, if you think there's any question about if your application is firmly based in or related to the visual arts, you need to make that case. So the proposal that I'm going to have, I think, is firmly based, so I'm good. I'm the lead organizer and I live in Erie County. I'm going to make accessible activities, so I feel like that works. My proposed project with this grant is new, so I can check that one. And I am doing this not as an organization currently holding a 501c3 status, so that's good. And I'm in Erie County. All right. Now I have passed the eligibility test and I can start on the application. I'm not going to go through every little form here because you guys probably know how to fill out your names and all of that stuff, but you are required to, you can, if you want to, have a website, social media links, that kind of thing will be helpful for the judges, and especially helpful if you are awarded the grant, so we can have access to that stuff later. But it is optional. But I've gone through already and copied the questions into a Google Doc, and my project is called Shower Projects. So I'll just take that over here. Oh. Copied in, nope. And my tagline, what did I write? Rotating exhibitions in showers across Buffalo. Okay, now I can't see that. Now the project description, we've here given you a lot of guidance about what to make sure you include in your project description. We want to make sure, you should obviously describe what it is, but you should also make sure that you address who the audience of your project is, who the intended community will be, what they'll experience, what they'll see. You should make sure you tell us where your project takes place. An important note is that it can't take place at Beacon. And if you don't have a location yet, that's actually okay. Don't worry, but please make sure you plan on how you'll secure one. If it doesn't require physical venue, make sure you show us or tell us how it'll be publicly accessed. Any other collaborators that you're working with, if you're, for example, for my project, I'm going to have a series of exhibitions in showers across Buffalo, but there'll be various artists in that. So I will both share information about my confirmed artists, people who I know are going to work with me, and then also people who I might add later, or people who I'd really like to get involved with this project.
And just one note there is that, like, yeah, if you're applying for a kinetic grant, you're probably going to be applying for funding for just you. But if it's for a potential grant, it's likely something that will be housing programming in some way. And so hearing more about what that program looks like is good.
Yep. And you can have a collaborator on a kinetic grant. Don't feel like you have to be an alone artist for that, but yeah, this one for sure you'd want to have some. We want to hear about the approximate project timeline. There are some, as part of what we can fund, there are some guidelines about when your project can take place. So really it needs to take place pretty much in the calendar year of 2024. And if you haven't produced a project like this before, we'd like to hear some relevant experience that might, show us that you are capable of completing the project that you are proposing. And then, yeah, make sure you describe that audience and how you plan to reach them. So let's see, I took a stab at this. I gave a little history about art, this Merle Laudeman Euclid, who wrote a manifesto for maintenance art. So I'm proposing art that you can look at while you perform personal maintenance in your shower, My curatorial practice has often hinged on exhibiting art in unexpected places, parking lots, abandoned buildings, and public spaces. This project will deviate into a more intimate space, one most of us visit often. Showers are often like a sanctuary where people can be the most themselves. They restore, they refresh, but they are never a place where we experience art. At both public and private showers throughout Buffalo, I'll install an exhibition. Work by all kinds of artists will be hung, and I'll create a map and secure access, although likely by appointment, so the Buffalonians can maintain themselves through showers and their thirst for art simultaneously. Some of the artists I propose to work with are some random artists I thought of when I was writing this. But so you can see I've put my collaborators here. I've listed some places that I believe that the showers will be. And then I've even come through and put a timeline together. And you can use these 700 words as you wish. You know, you can have bulleted lists. You can write a full essay. You can present it as creatively through words as you are capable of, or as clearly and sort of project managey or whatever you want to do. So let's see, I'm going to pop this into my application. As you can see, you have the ability to make sort of bulleted lists, to do italics, to even insert links into your project description. We can't guarantee for sure that the judges will look at all of the links in a project description like this, because again, they're like time for every application is limited. So keep that in mind, but maybe they will. Okay, so I'm done with that. I've only used 339 of the 700 words. Again, the word count is a maximum. If you feel like you can succinctly describe your project in less words, please do so. We've added here a quick reminder before you move on to tell you to think about what the judges will be actually jurying your proposal on. So again, this might be a time to go back and reread your proposal and make sure that you feel like you're hitting all of these points. The next part is a project budget. So we do ask you to submit a simple budget for this to receive the money. You should complete it as accurately as possible and request the amount that would best allow you to achieve your project's stated goals. So you'll notice that we've said often that these grants are up to 10,000 and up to 2,000. If you need less money, you can apply for it. I wouldn't like make up a budget that's much, much bigger than you need just because you think you have to get to $2,000 or something. But one thing that I do think you should make sure you include is payments for any artists you work with. So if you're applying for a potential grant, make sure that there's an artist fee for any artists that you're working with. If you are applying for a kinetic grant and just as yourself, think about your time and what you need to be paid for the project as well. We've added a link here to the Working Artists for the Greater Economy fee calculator, where you can take a look at some ideas for what you might want to pay an artist. Everyone who is in this meeting will be at the very bottom of this total annual operating expenses, I assume. So you can just look here at what Vox Populi is paying for, say, a solo exhibition, which is $1,250, a solo project, $750, a two-person exhibition. You don't need to match these exactly, but you should think really honestly about what you think the artists you work with deserve in your proposal. Okay, so now we've done that. Sorry, I got to move your faces. You're in my way. Okay. So next, when you're ready to do the budget, we have created you can do it, you can submit any form you want, although we highly recommend using this Google form that we've created. when you open this, it should be not a form that you can edit. And so what you'll want to do is go here into the file setting, and you'll want to make a copy. However, I have already done this and pulled a thing together. So let me find it. Let's see, micro. Okay. So at the beginning is expenses, where you want to enter all of the expenses that you want the generator fund to cover. That should be including but not limited. Sorry, my thing is going all over that. Including but not limited to artist fees, contractual services, publicity, hospitality, outreach, supplies and materials, publication, distribution, photocopying, postage, rental of space or equipment, and any other project-specific costs that you would be using within this award. So some of the things that I thought I might want with my shower projects is a graphic designer to create a brochure, a website, and at the end of the project, a book. And I wanted to pay them $3,000. I thought that I would probably need to pay some of the people whose shower I'll use, either an honorarium or rent. I'll be using wage standards to pay artists based on new commissions versus exhibition of existing works. The total budget for that, I believe, will be around $5,000. I'll be printing a book. I got some quotes. I think that'll cost around $2,000. My other installation needs, I approximate, will be about $500. And then I think that a website and other marketing needs will be about $500. So this spreadsheet is already set up so that you shouldn't need to do math. Your expenses should just subtotal right there. There's also a space for you to list any in-kind expenses. You don't need to have in-kind expenses. These are not required, but if anybody is donating anything to this project, and especially if you feel like, oh, it's important for us to know that the reason that like a rented space is not listed on the budget above is because you've already have that covered. It might be smart to list it here so we can see that, oh, cool, they're going to do it all in a place where they can get it for in-kind, for a donated space, and still list the what you expect that cost would have been. Okay, so my total expenses are $15,000, which you will notice is more than the $10,000 that my grant is for. But in the next section, you talk about income. And so I'm requesting $10,000. Make sure you put whatever you want to get from the generator fund in this section. I do think that I'll make some income from this project. I'll be selling books, and I anticipate I'll sell about $1,000 worth of books. And I also will be selling the art. All of the art in the showers will be for sale. 50% of that profit will go straight to the artists, but I think that I'll still make about $2,000 on art sales. So my total income line is $2,500 for a total income of $15,500. So that is my budget. When I'm done with it, I download it as a PDF and I can upload it into my application. So like I said, if you like really have another budget form that works much better for you or something, you can feel free to use that instead. But I think that for our judges, it'll probably be really appreciated if they're looking at basically the same form over and over again. Okay, so I've uploaded my budget. Wasn't that easy? Now I'm also going to upload a CV. Note that a CV is it sounds scary. A CV is really just a resume. It doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be fancy. We're not here to let you into grad school or not. We just basically want to be able to see what you've done before. If it only
And
has
as
on it, that's fine. Go ahead.
yeah,
Nando.
but do like always, be sure to check out artist websites that you like and stuff for examples of
Mhm.
CVs to rip off.
Yeah, if you mine is more towards curating, but I can pull it up really fast, hopefully. Maybe. Yeah. So you can see my education. Mine has work experience on it. And then eventually it has exhibitions I curated. But yours would have art shows you've been in and that kind of thing. Okay, so that is CV. And then here you get to add up to 10 files of work samples. What's important to note here is you could upload a PDF that has 50 pages in it or something. Really think about how annoyed the jury will be as they review your project. If you overdo this and send way too many images or way too many videos or something like that, you will likely not be very popular in the judge's eyes because that's kind of a pain. So think about how to communicate your project quickly through visual images. If you want to create a PDF that is a real proposal, that's fine, but think about trying to keep it to about 10 pages. And for a video, try to keep it under 5 minutes. Even 5 minutes might be long. Maybe 3 minutes is really a kinder thing to do to a jury that's reviewing a lot of applications. And as you upload your files, make sure you title them with your last name, your first name, and the title of the work. So, I have some images here, but I have titled them wrong, actually. I should fix this. Oops, I opened it, but really I should just title it Reynolds, Emily, Marcel Duchamp art. I've given it a little description too, and then I will upload it here. Great. And I could do that 9 more times. And then in the next field, this is where it might be helpful to just input some text. Like if you're just uploading 10 images of your work or of someone else's work, you may want to just add captions for what all of those pieces are. If you think any of the files that you have uploaded will confound the judges because they don't know what it is, use this text box to describe what those files are. Does that make sense? Okay. And then the rest of the application is really just some demographic data that will help us in understanding who we are reaching with the generator grant. The jury will not actually even see any of these. So one thing that I do think is important, if your race or ethnicity or gender or any of your identity is very important to you to communicate to the judges, that might be something and important to your project. You may want to try to work that into your proposal in some way, because the jury will not see all of the applicant data. There's also questions about if highest level of education pursued, age of all of these things are not for the jury. They're really just for us later to look at how well we've done at promoting this grant to a diverse audience. So I haven't finished mine and I want to come back later and work on it, so I can save my draft right here and I'll be able to work on this whenever I like. Just remember that before September 30th at midnight or October 1st at midnight, you should make sure you've hit submit on this so that it was submitted before the deadline. This platform will immediately take the applications down at that time. One thing that I will tell you early birds, because you're catching the worm right now, is that Wavy and Nando and I will intermittently and randomly be looking at applications before, because we just want to make sure that everything is going all right. And if we look at yours and see that anything is amiss, or if we have any ideas of how you might make it stronger, we very well may send you an email with some notes or some ideas, and we have the ability to open your application up again so you can make edits. So we can't offer that to everyone for sure, but we're just letting people know that if they submit early, we'll be happy to take a look at it. Is there anything I've missed, Nando?
I was just responding to Cole here, but I don't think so.
Cool. Any questions from anyone else in the room? I will stop sharing my screen too. What kind of ideas do you guys have? Which ones are you thinking of applying for? Anyone?
I can talk about mine.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to apply for the bigger one because I've been doing a lot of digital art for the last 8-9 months. And the reason I got into it was because a friend offered to do a collaboration with me. And I never really knew anything about Procreate before. And it just kind of opened me up to this new world of fun because she knew what she was doing with this. So I had the idea of doing this bigger collaboration with other artists too, like known people around Buffalo that have been a lot more established than me, but aren't digital artists. And then me with my still relatively small lack of experience, just having fun with these people and experiencing it the first time.
Well, and keep in mind too that like definitely for the potential grants, and I see Rob asked a question about them too. We love to see things like artists being paid and the funding being distributed to properly compensate for labor power and everything. And so just like keep in mind if you are working with artists in some way, one, that there should be some publicly accessible component. For a potential grant, I kind of think that should be probably something that recurs and continues to build community engagements over time. And I forgot what I was going to say about
I would say that, but I also would say that it doesn't have to be. Like $10,000 is not a ton of money either.
No,
so it really is like, oh, I want to do a series of 5 shows over the summer, or I'm gonna do one project that actually did keep going but started in the Bay Area from a similar regrant from the regranting program there, was called Heavy Breathing, and it was like sort of performance art led like exercise classes. And they, I think, initially got funding to do like 5 or 6, but then they sort of were like, oh, this keeps working. And they did keep going, but they initially were not going to keep going. So I don't think you have to think of it as in a sense like that when you do it, you have to do it forever. But do you think it's something that you might want to sustain for?
And to Rob's question too, in our minds, I think a project is an institution, creative business, especially if there is some, ideally, and maybe only if there is also some kind of public engaging component as part of that business. But also, obviously, I'm thinking about a print shop that would be only or like primarily aimed at producing artist editions, and to me, that sounds like a great project.
Yeah, I think that especially that kind of thing, I mean, if you're looking for ways to make a case that that's firmly rooted in visual arts and works as an art project, look at like social practice artists who often sort of, their businesses or their art practices often also look like businesses, often eventually turn into businesses that maybe spin into things that aren't read as much as art anymore, but that's okay. So I think that the word project can be pretty loose. A series of dinners that are artists made that could work. That could be a project that that counts for this. Yeah. Any other questions? Well, if there aren't questions, and if you think of them later, as we know, this is the beginning of this whole grant. So we are also not sure what is being lost in translation. Emma just asked if the recording will be sent to everyone. What we'll do is we'll just post this on our website so that anybody can watch it as they prepare their applications. We're doing quite a few more info sessions, one more virtually, and then we have one at Fitz Books, one at the NAC in Niagara Falls, and we're also going to do one at the AKG. So you'll also have opportunities to come ask questions again. If there's interest, we've also talked about doing sort of like office hours or application hours where people could collaboratively work on their applications if they want to at BICA. So if that's something that you're interested in, let Wavy know and we can find some times to offer that as well. And yeah, send us your questions. We're trying to build out a FAQ section on the website and we need questions to build those out. So
That are asked frequently.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, Emma, we will. That sounds good. I think the office hours will be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for coming and listening today. And can't wait to read your proposals.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye.
Have a good night.
I guess.